Sencha is probably one of my favorite Japanese teas. Definitely one of the teas I drink the most. Today what I want to do is I want to make sure that you fall in love with Sencha too. And to do that, I'm going to teach you how exactly you should make Sencha. If you make it the wrong way, it's going to taste very different. You want to make sure you nail the key points down in order to taste it the way it's meant to be. Today I'll go over the 3 key points in brewing a delicious cup of sencha, and then I'll also do a demonstration as well. So make sure you follow along and fall in love with sencha. Key number 1 is to find a proper sencha. Needless to say, this is vitally important. You can't make a good tea out of a bad tea. But first you have to be careful with the word sencha, because the word sencha is thrown around in lots of different places in a very broad sense. You've probably seen tea bags that's labeled sencha, and that's not what you're looking for. Those are more loose interpretations of the word sencha. Real sencha is a proper loose leaf tea. The leaves are steamed and then rolled, and they're made into fine, beautiful needle-like shapes. That's what gives it the nice umami and the sweetness and the clean finish. And that's the type of tea we're looking for. So first, look for loose leaf tea, not tea bags. Now the second point is you want to make sure you find the first flush tea. First flush tea basically means that it's from the first harvesting season of the year. And it's really important because if you compare a first flush tea to something else, the tastes are completely different. The first flush tea is way more delicious than the others. So you want to make sure that you're choosing first flush tea. Not all tea will indicate which flush they're from. So that's the semi-tricky part. However, there are some keywords you can look out for. Keywords such as shincha, ichibancha. These words basically indicate that they're first flush. So if you see any stickers or any labels or information that mention any of these words, that probably means that that tea is a first flush tea. So that would be a good choice. Another relatively common indicator would be the name of the tea itself. For example, this tea, 88ya, this means 88th night tea. This is actually a very common name for sencha. It's basically the 88th night after the first day of spring. So that's around May, and that's said to be the best timing to harvest the tea. That's why if it says 88th night tea, it probably means that it's from the first flush. So that would be a good choice too. Again, if it says ichibancha, shincha, 88th night tea, these are good indicators that it's probably a first flush tea. For today's demonstration, we're gonna use this tea that I just showed you. It's the 88th night tea again by Taniguchi-en. It fits all the qualities that we just talked about. So it's a first flush, it's a loose leaf tea, and I think it's a really good tea because it gives you lots of the classic characteristics that you want in a sencha. Now that we've decided on the tea, I'll go over some of the tea tools that we'll be using today. This is a teapot that we'll use. It's a kyusu. We call it a kyusu. It's basically a teapot. It's a tokonami teapot, yokode handle, so it's a side handle type. I'll make 2 cups, so I have 2 teacups here. So this is a yuzamashi, which is basically something that cools down the water. It's just a bowl with a spout. So that's what we have here today. Oh, and of course we also have a kettle over there outside of the camera. Now, as much as possible, you want to follow the instructions on the tea bag. And for example, for the 88th night tea bag, there are instructions in the back. So today we'll follow this. We're going to do 70 degrees water temperature, and then we're going to infuse it for 60 seconds, and we'll see how it goes. Now, this brings us to the second key in brewing the delicious cup of sencha. It's the water temperature. The water temperature is very important. You might be lazy and think, well, how much would it differ? 5 degrees, 10 degrees? Maybe I can just use boiling water? It actually makes a huge difference. So you want to make sure, don't be lazy. You want to make sure you reduce the temperature from boiling water to what it says in the instructions. In this case, we're going to bring it down to 70 degrees and brew it with that, because the taste of sencha will completely change. It's not the same tea. Okay, now let's open the sencha. The needle-like shape of the sencha. And if you take a sniff at the tea leaves, it's absolutely amazing. You should always do this. The smell of the dry leaves, I think, is I really think it's one of the best things in the world. So you should definitely do this before you infuse your sencha. I have boiling water in this kettle right now, and what I want to do is I want to first put it in the cups, put it in the serving cups. By putting it in here, what it does, it actually has two functions. First, it helps me measure how much water I want to infuse. And secondly, it helps reduce the temperature of the boiling water. So once I put the boiling water into the cups, it will suck the temperature out of the water and it will reduce the temperature a little bit. It will probably reduce about 5 to 10 degrees. Once this is done, we want to reduce it even further. So what we'll do is we'll take these 2 cups and we'll put it into the yuzamashi. And again, what this is it's something that reduces the temperature of the water. That's literally what it means, yuzamashi. By doing this, we can reduce the temperature another 5 to 10 degrees. Now, once this is done, we want to take this water and then put it into the kyusu. The teapot is also a ceramic, so it will help reduce the temperature of the water as well. Now, once the water temperature is completely transferred to the teapot, then we can add some of the tea leaves inside, because by then it would usually be around 70 degrees. Honestly, about 75 degrees, but we'll roll with this. This is fine as well. The water just now, that's about 120 mil each, so it's about 240 mil altogether. So what I'm going to do is I will use about 4 grams of tea leaves. And then I'll close the lid and we will let it infuse for 60 seconds. Okay, now it's 60 seconds, so we'll take this and we will serve to each of the cups. The water of the tea will become thicker and thicker as we pour. And if we don't pour it this way, you'll end up with 1 cup being very thick and 1 cup being very thin. So that's why and back and forth. Now we've reached this point where the water is not coming out too easily anymore, and it's on its last drips. Now this is key number 3. This is key point number 3 in terms of making a delicious cup of sencha. You want to make sure you serve to the last drop. These final drops is where all of the taste are condensed into. So you want to make sure you don't waste any of this. Regrettably, the mic went out of batteries, so you can't hear a word I'm saying, but I'm continuing to try to get the last drop out of the teapot. You can knock on the teapot a little bit to shift the leaves around to try to get the last drop. And hopefully you can see me drinking the tea, and from the expression, you can see that I'm really enjoying it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I certainly did enjoy my sencha, so it's a win-win, I would say. If you like this video, you probably like the next one, so please make sure you stick around.